Hi, this is Joan-Marie Domino. Look how beautiful this ornament is. I'm going to take you through a couple techniques, including this really fun hack. Wait until you see. This is a heart ornament gift box. I'm going to be decoupaging in this video, and I'm going to be doing reverse decoupage. So the first thing I want to do is pick out a napkin that is going to fit. So I went over to my friends at Vippies Designs, www.vippies.com, and they have lots of different designs that you can use for this project. This is the beautiful napkin I decided to use. It works perfect. And the first technique I'm going to show you, if you've never tried this, is reverse decoupage. All right, but the first thing we want to do is prep our surface. This plastic is very smooth and shiny, so we want to make sure it's squeaky clean. And I'm going to do that with an alcohol pad. I'm just going to wipe down both sides of the heart, and then I'm just going to dry them very quickly. Okay, I'm going to pull out the napkin that I decided to use, and in this case, I am not going to separate the plies. I'm going to leave the napkin together. So I'm going to place my heart on top of the napkin. I'm just going to move it around until I feel like I've got it in a good place, and that looks good. Now I'm going to take my water brush. It's got a tube with water. Water feeds into the brush, and I'm going to trace around the heart. I want to make sure I have enough water because it is going through several plies. So as I tear, I'm going to tear along the edge of the heart, which makes it a lot easier to do. And I'm also going to do the top. Top is a little bit tricky because there's that little hanging hole up there on the top. And I'm just going to finish just picking it off with my fingers, and it's going to be absolutely perfect. All right, I'm going to give you a tip now, and I'm hoping I can explain this to you and it makes sense. These boxes, one slips on top of the other, so they kind of snap together. When you put a napkin on this, you're going to put a napkin on the top part, the part that snaps on top of the other one. So I hope that that is making sense. If you do it the other way, the napkin may tear off. All right, so here is my napkin, and the first thing I'm going to do is separate it, because when I did the water tear, I left all the plies together, but with decoupage, we only want that top printed ply. Now it's on to applying the Mod Podge, and I put Mod Podge in small containers because I buy them in really big containers, and I just make sure to mark the top, and I am using glossy, and I'm going to put that all over the one side of this heart box. I'm going to make sure I have a nice even coat covering the entire thing, and I want to work kind of quick because I don't want the glue to dry. Now I'm going to pick up the napkin. Now I'm going to be doing what's called reverse decoupage. So we're going to actually flip the napkin over and put it on upside down. So I'm going to use my fingers to smooth it out a little bit. And then I'm going to get my saran wrap. This is such a great tip. And a wadded up piece of paper towel. And I'm just going to smooth it down really well. It's going to get rid of those wrinkles. And the napkin is going to adhere perfectly. I'm going to carefully remove this saran wrap, and then for those of you who don't know or have never seen reverse decoupage, I'm going to flip this over so that you can see. Reverse decoupage means you look at the image through the heart. It's not on top, it's underneath. I hope that that is also making sense to you. And to speed up the process, I am going to use my heat gun, but I'm going to put it off to the side to completely dry, so I have some extra time. Now, before I put paint on top of this, and you'll see why I'm going to do that, I have to put what's called a barrier. Putting a barrier on top, and not Mod Podge, okay, I'm going to use Duraclear. Mod Podge has a tendency to crack where Duraclear doesn't. Okay, back to why I'm putting the barrier on. When you put this on, I'm using the Duraclear. Once it dries and I go to put the paint on top, this barrier is going to keep the paint from seeping through the napkin. And then from the front, it can look really blotchy. This is a step you really do not want to skip. I'm going to speed up the process again by using my heat gun, but another tip is really try to let it air dry as much as possible. Now I'm ready to apply the paint. And this is the paint I'm using. It's Waverly white paint. That's going to go on top of the napkin. And wait till you see how different this looks once I put the paint on. Now here's another good tip. Chalk paint has a tendency to separate, so you either want to roll it around or do what I did, which is stir it. All right, so I'm taking my sponge pouncer and I'm going to start to go over the napkin. Okay, that is the side that I'm adding the paint. So now the napkin is underneath the paint, but I'm going to flip it over so that you can see how much more vivid the colors in that napkin are now that I have put some white paint underneath. I'm going to finish up covering the whole one side of the heart. Remember, I'm putting the paint on top of the napkin. Now, to speed up the process, you can use a heat gun if you want. And this is why using Duraclear is so important. If I were to use Mod Podge instead, it's very possible that that paint would crack. All right, you want to give that as much time to dry as you can before we move on to the next step. These are foam stickers, and I got them from the Dollar Tree, and I'm actually going to put them on top of the paint. Now, this is where that amazing hack is going to come into play. Wait until you see this. If you like using molds, the plastic silicone molds, and you can fill them with clay and spackle and other things, you get this raised 3D effect. But with this, I'm not going to be using any mold or any clay or any spackle. I'm going to be using these foam stickers I got from the Dollar Tree, and it doesn't matter the size or the color of the foam sticker that I'm using. This is some red, just cheapo acrylic paint that I had, and I'm going to paint the whole side of the heart. This is the side that has the napkin on first, then the paint, then I put on the foam stickers. Now I'm painting over the whole thing, including those stickers. That's why it didn't matter what color the foam stickers were, because they're going to get painted anyways. So I'm just going to go over the entire thing, and I'm going to flip it over. You can't see any of the red paint because the white paint is there. So I'm going to do this whole heart. I'm actually going to put 2 coats on, and I'm going to let it dry. Okay, this is the exciting part. This is the hack that I told you about in the beginning. All right, that's silver Rub and Buff, and I have a little rag there I'm going to use to apply it. Rub and Buff is a solvent paint, it's actually a paste, and it is permanent, so I'm going to tell you be really careful that you don't get it on your fingers, but you only need a little bit. So I'm going to take my little rag here, and I'm going to just go up into a corner, and I'll put just a little bit on. Now watch. I'm going to take the Rub and Buff, and I'm going to start to go over the heart. All right. There are those raised heart stickers. And as I put the Rub and Buff on, it's really going to highlight them. And they're 3D. And to me, they are so similar to the molds that we use. We put them into silicone, and we use clay, and we use spackle, and it takes a long time. This is just a quick, easy way to do this where you get a very similar effect, and it's very elegant. You can put on as much or little Rub and Buff as you want. As a matter of fact, you don't even have to use silver. You can use any color that you want, and it comes out perfect. There is really, in my mind, no way that you can't tell these came from a mold instead of stickers from the Dollar Tree. So what do you think? It was so easy to get that same effect. I think that this is something you got to run to the Dollar Tree and get these little stickers as soon as you can, because you're definitely going to want to try this. I like to call these gift boxes because you can put something inside and it snaps shut. But because I want to put something inside, I'm not going to thread a hanger through that little hole that's up on top. Instead, I'm going to take a little hanger that I made. This is from ribbon, and I'm going to take my hot glue and I'm going to put it right in front of that little hanging hole there that's on top. And then I'm going to put the little string I made, little hanger from ribbon. I'm going to just make sure it's well adhered up there on the top. And then when I'm all done, I'm going to be able to snap it on top of the other one. But before I do that, I want to embellish just a little bit more. I had a little bit of silver foliage left over from a Christmas project. I put that on top. And I had this pink rose, but I decided I really want to make it more elegant. So I took some of the silver Rub and Buff, and I just went over the petals. I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue right there on top. And I'm going to press the flower right there in the middle. I'm just going to press it down really well because I want to make sure that it's not going to fall off and it's well adhered. And my project is all done. This is a beautiful, elegant gift box. And look, I showed you how to do reverse decoupage, but what I really love about this is the hack of using foam stickers from the Dollar Tree. You paint over the whole thing, you highlight it with the rub and buff, and what you have is a beautiful, elegant ornament that has the look of molds where we use clay and we use silicone, but this was so much quicker and so much easier. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Decoupage D.I.Y with Joan-Marie Domino.